The line for the gubernatorial election in Edo State has been drawn, and there has been mixed reaction from different parties: PDP, APC, Labour Party, and other parties that have been enlisted for the election. So, I would like you to watch this exposition and analysis concerning what the possible outcome of the election is going to be, and other matters arising as a result of this.
This is coming to you live from the nation's capital, which is exactly 1 week to the much anticipated 2024 governorship election in Edo State. And ahead of the poll, all eyes are on the action or inaction of the political parties and their candidates. Nigeria's electoral body INEC says it is prepared to conduct the election in all the 18 local government areas of the state, even as it appeals to the voters and the political actors in the state to comport themselves properly. But except something significant happens before next Saturday, this coming Saturday, the People's Democratic Party PDP signature may not be on the peace document. If it happens, it will be the first time a participating party and its candidate will be declining to sign the peace accord. The party and its candidate, Asue Igodalo, refused to sign the pact, citing bias on the part of the police and Inspector General of Police, Kayode Botokun, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, who is of working with the All Progressives Congress AP to rig the election. Police redeployed to ensure a peaceful, the All Progressives Congress APC initially told the PDP's line, saying it did so out of respect for the rule of law. The credibility of the committee, headed by former head of state, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, retired, and Bishop Hassan Kuka. All right, joining us in the studio to take a look at the Edo Governorship election and what is at stake is the National Secretary Coalition of United Opposition Party COP, Peter Ameh. Also joining us is election observer Gabriel Nwanbu. Nwanbu is the Director General, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Gentlemen, glad to have you join me in the studio this evening.
Good evening, thanks for having me.
Good. In my morning program, the daybreak, we were discussing with a contributor to Vanguard, a columnist. He says, why do you even need a peace accord when Nigeria is not at war? Do you really need a peace accord for an election? We'll get to talking about the fact that PDP didn't sign, but what's your sense?
For me, sincerely, if we're working in the path of democratic governance, we don't really need a peace accord. But the fact that there are those who want to take it by force, pretend over the affairs of state or federal government, and why the peace accord came on board. I was a member of the court, and what the peace accord did play, the role they played was a major role. But the problem is now, what I'm saying is that discuss just signing of the peace accord. We continue to look at the background, the pre, during, and post-election phases. What is affect interest of other participating political party? Because we're in a multi-party democratic process, and if there's no peace, you can't be pushing towards justice. If there's no equity, if there's no fairness, and you are saying people should come and sign peace accord, it undermines the process. For us to get it right, you can as party elections, and you expect me to the wrong in the system. You must re-engineer it, try to frame it in a way that they will also look at actions of overbearing other political parties, and then drive it in a way that
just says PDP side, APC at a point thought, what's the problems? Accusing INEC. The Minister of is accusing police removed. This is their word. That's what. So, what do you make of the fact that PDP, for the first time, among others, and what is said about?
Well, thank you so very much. It's to know the essence of this peace accord. Now, those who designed them,
he said so.
Believe that process of environment is usually charged, fully charged, and now attacks on both sides of, whether it is ruling political party or opposition political parties. You have them accusations. We see, the fallout of all that in litigations post-election. Now, what do we have in now? We have seen the peace accord being governorship election last, saw it being signed last year, and in this election for observers, we saw helicopters in Kogi State up and cutting away ballot boxes, and left. In Nigeria there is a government agency in charge of an authority, to till today as we speak, nobody has been arrested, nobody has been prosecuted for that action, nobody, arrested or charged or seen to be arrested for what in Kogi State. Meanwhile, these are people that have signed the so-called peace accord. It's happening. We fast forward to Edo State, and then a particular is an alarm that over 60 officers have been arrested. They were not even transferred to Abuja. Kind of, if the arrest is across, if they have been arrested or invited members,
take them to court. If they didn't do any wrong, release them.
The issue is that it is just one political party in the spirit of fairness. Nigerian can be invited.
Okay.
Suppose it is members of Labour Party, APC who raise an. If it's just one political party, there is no consequences for these offences, and that is why people can.
That's what Peter was saying.
There are no consequences. I'm just tired of the same ritual.
He said re-engineering. You didn't talk about it.
Punitive measure. There should be very serious punitive measures, for persons on the electoral processes.
All right, Peter. The ED of Yaga, he says the peace accord may affect voter turnout. So he pieced the accusation of police being the third leg of it. How he should handle these parties involved for a dialogue. That's what he said.
Solve the problem. I'm not here to cry for the. I'm trying to say something. I saw a video by Olumide Akpata some months. If someone was bringing down his billboard that they had from the governor that they particular positions. That is, by the way, for me, it will affect voter because all the believe in the process is losing his own integrity. That the outcome of the vote cast is what was now. And that's why we are saying, if you look at the perplexity and the uncertainty that hovering around the 21st election of the first 20 election, you will know that those who are charged with power are always trying to use the power to maximum, to shine in a way.
Man, the PDP is the government in power in Edo State.
In Edo State, there's a federal government. Most times, the federal government has more authority. Their boys do whatever they want to do. But when it comes to, it is the federal government that runs state. They own that authority to post as they like. So and acting, the effect is that we must start to have a proper process. An electoral security this we do with the opposition party, either in the state or at the national level. There's a proper system. We can't continue to run on that. This kind of strength being displayed. In all of this, it is not the politicians that are playing to their own interests. We must know that, look, the peace accord, if the peace accord releases a report of violence that, like my brother mentioned here in Kogi, violence in Imo, and then all the time you come, you just to prepare paper for people to sit down the potency of that.
Look like a jam.
It will look like a jam doing one thing.
The mandate to do what?
Look, the kind of persons that are on that board, respect the interest in trying to create an electoral movement. Yeah, as we speak to you now, you can't have of a man who looks good and will put fire in other people's state. And being the resident electoral commissioner for a state in such an election, serve on that wiki as special advisor on land and survey. These are politicians. There are a lot of people who are into advocacy and they are no longer appointing. They are now appointing to pretend over the affairs of our electoral process and agree that the electoral, if you go to any website, you see their vision no longer being respected by politicians.
Gabriel, 35,000 police, 35 for the election. Not necessary. What do you think?
Well, you see, of us have raised alarm over court actions, very serious attacks, on group of persons by court groups. Now it becomes employment should do something very decisive. In fact, the state, has gone a long way to curbing menace of this court group, including these things that stay in the bush, So I think that bringing in a lot of policemen, 35,000 policemen, but they should work in tandem with all the stakes. A particular political party is raising a red flag that they don't like this. They are not. We have other Nigerians that can serve there. We have other Nigerians.
Credibility of the election, because perception
they
is
need
important.
To be transparent. They need to be seen to be credible. If some, what does it take? You withdraw that person up there. Goes well. We are Nigerians and we've been here for a while.
But supposing
we know these things
but
and the way it plays out.
It's just supposing that he's in governance in this. Suppose that we're just supposing that he's raising a false alarm. Must they put INEC and the police to task to change the person there?
I am not
understanding where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I am not the mouthpiece of PDP. Yeah. I don't belong to any political party.
It's because that the people raising this.
Okay. Now look at the alarm that was raised. It is so germane. like the collation officers that were mentioned, they gave their names and said that the departments or the ministries that were SPOs, that they were attached to them, it's fictitious, it's non-existent. They even went as far as saying that these people were imported by state, into Edo State. But so these are things that are so clear. There are issues, right? And then more people that are outside that are still there. You have a lot of people.
Do you think that do you see the police hacking on to the vote of Yaga, for purposes like he has said, but and so you say, okay, one particular side has raised an issue. All right, for peace sake, showing what PDP had about the CP and the REC.
I think perception most times is stronger than reality.
Yes.
And if they are not going to heed to the request, for there must be to do things. Neutrality of INEC is something that we hold very strongly. The independence of INEC, and if it makes INEC is that we not if there's no trust and integrity in the process of conducting election. We know for sure that the election coming on the 21st of September have issues. And I don't think we should be in a state of war every time we want to conduct election. We shouldn't be. It's about people in authority to do whatever we like. You can go to hell, and that will not help our democracy. Neither will it help our people who have competence, people who can come into office through the vote of the people, so that they can respect the people. Because why our politicians are not respecting the people is because they can bring themselves to office and do whatever they want. If INEC feel that this request had been made, there are a lot of times served, and based on the fact for the purpose of making sure that you have it, please step aside. There are a lot of Nigerians. Another place, they are very qualified. For me, I know that the 21st election is very important. I don't even think we should be having start, but that is by be put on this staggered election that makes opposition in order to be able to participate properly. And that's why you see that for over the years, the Inter-Party Advisory Council, other organizations have been pushing that and give 3 ballots on 5 ballots. Yes. Let's conduct an election way to resolve all these issues. Some of the judgment that was given by the Supreme Court, they are made it now staggered. The mistakes in this, be able to adjust this thing and make all the election. The overbearing attitude of those in power, especially at the federal at all costs, is really breaking our electoral process.
How do we I don't okay. But how do we what I'm trying to say is that we may come here next time and start discussing this issue, because we're looking for solutions. INEC, the meaning of the acronym is independent. INEC really independent. Because it is said that he that pays the piper dictates the tune.
Yeah.
Plays the piper.
Thank you so much. That's a very pertinent question. You see, in the real sense of it, INEC ought to be truly. But if you go through the appointment of INEC, the nomination for the Senate to just come, some of us have opined that, either to the NJC or some other that are different from, politicians, as it were. There is a tendency, for somebody to be loyal, level of loyalty. How as appointed the INEC chair, election was declared against that person in this country. That was Goodluck Jonathan. He appointed Professor Tahiru held in 2015. 2015, and Professor Jega declared an election for President Goodluck. So that affinity is
which
somehow,
should be what it is.
that is what it ought to be. However, INEC as it is now, for me, is striving as much as possible to be independent. But to conduct a free, fair, and credible election does not lie in INEC alone. INEC is not a magician or group of magicians.
I agree with that.
Sometimes this INEC day and night suffers. Any problem that comes up as a result of an election or a malpractice beginning of an election, it is INEC. But we have also seen that some INEC officials, some of them are in jail. Professors, that's a professor from either Akwa Ibom State or somewhere, as a collation officer, being in jail because of malpractices. So INEC in the INEC as the professionals.
You are National Secretary of Coalition
of
United Opposition Party. So you're a pork. The talk is that politicians try to circumvent the rules, and that the people who cause most of the problem that INEC.
Yes, INEC alone is not to be blamed for the player in the field when it comes to election. Nigerians need to start to pay more attention, because the election is not just the election day issue alone. Like there's the period of pre-phases where this in place. If the citizens start to now participate more, ask more questions, and become more active, for you find out that things will get clearer.
How do you want them to participate?
No, when you paste some of these forms, when you talk about Form EC8, citizens are not really interested. You can vote and go home in a state where some politicians, because one exception, you talk about Jonathan here. If Jonathan can use his own, will be in government today. So they are exception, but they are very desperate politicians too, that are willing to go to undermine the integrity of our election. He talked about and all that, about the NJC appointing INEC officials. People say I spoke to me last week for 12 hours and told me that I was taking the wrong direction, because then they cannot even be able to discipline hiring judges who manipulate, who put somebody from fourth position to first position. So you now give them the power to nominate and the power to also decide. So we must sit down very well. The issue that I got from you, and I know that is germane, is the fact that politicians are not creeping their way commission. People are appointing people, if not because when Onoche was appointed, she would have been the national commissioner today, especially advisor to the president. So these are the things that are clear.
How do you want to participate?
There are a lot of ways. Even when you paste some of these forms at the centers, when you talk about Form EC8 at the polling unit, the citizens are not really interested. You can't just cast your vote and go home in a state where some politicians have become very desperate. I say 10